Welcome to LSC. It's sports time. I'm your host, Bob Hintz. Today I have with me Amber Easter, former basketball player over at Bethel High School. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad we finally got through that. Listen, you grew up in Hampton.
Yes, I did.
And started playing ball when you were really young, and basically you're still over in the same area, Michael Woods. Mm-hmm. How old were you when you first started?
I think I was about 6 or 7 when I started playing. Yeah, I was young. I have older brothers, older sisters, so my dad got me involved.
Kind of made you get into that, or that's what they were doing, so you decided you want to?
I mean, I really always wanted to be involved like they were, but my dad kind of got the ball rolling and got me out there and excited to play. So, I mean, if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have.
Right, but basketball, was that the only thing you did, or did you run track, or did you do some other things?
When I was younger, I think I did a little bit of everything. I did gymnastics, I was a cheerleader, I ran track, played basketball.
So you stayed active the year round?
Yeah, just, you know.
Well, you know, parents, if you're active, you're not
get
getting
in trouble.
Exactly.
Right.
But now, when you first started playing, do you remember who some of your teammates were? Were they same ones that you had when you went to high school? Or?
When I started playing, the majority of my teammates were girls that I grew up with, but they were in the district. Like I played with Sonia Johnson, I played with Bonet, I played with Tiffany. A lot of my teammates I played with, Diamond Crutcher,
right.
Lavonna Spencer, all of those players. I played with all of them from little to when we got to high school.
Right. Now, when you first started playing, and what did basketball just seem more fun to you, or why did you just excel at basketball more than you did the other things, or?
I honestly think I played basketball for the reason, like, people told me that I wasn't going to be good, because when I first started playing, I was clumsy, I'd fall all the time. I was really timid when I was younger, so
right.
Everybody thought, well, she can't take a hit, so she won't be able to play much longer, but I kind of made it my mission to get stronger and better.
So you said, okay, I'm going to prove these people wrong.
Yeah, because I love the game. I love to watch it. I love to play it, and have all these people telling me like I was good, but I wasn't that good. Kind of got under my skin, and it made me want to work harder.
Absolutely, I can understand that. That's good. You also played on some AAU teams, Black Widows. Mm-hmm. Who was your coach there?
My very first Black Widows coach was Joe McGlone, and then I think I played for him for about 2 years. And then my dad was my Black Widows coach all the way up until high school. And then I played for David Six 1 season. And then that next season I played for Boo Williams on the traveling team.
Okay. Now, on that traveling team, you didn't go out of the country, but you went all over the United States. And now this was like a 2-3 week thing that you just went through?
Well, playing for Boo was hard in itself. Like you have girls from everywhere. So you practice once a week. Like we had 2 practices every Sunday. And then like when July came around, we were together the entire month of July in hotels and traveling and back to hotels. Like you barely got to go home, but I mean, it was still fun.
Did you get homesick or while you were away, or did you just because you developed a relationship with the other girls?
I have always been the kid that gets homesick, but like when I played for Boo, the Sportsplex had just been built. So a couple of our tournaments were right at home, so I wasn't like my teammates who were all from DC area and had to travel to get down here. So I kind of got to stay home more, but come July, I got homesick, but my mom and dad are those parents that try to get everywhere I'm at, so they kind of made me feel like I wasn't too far from them because they were right there.
All right, what positions did you play?
Anywhere, post player, guard. For Boo, I was a guard post. I kind of fit on his team, but I was more versatile than some of the other players.
So you could play other positions, and point guard, or were you two guard, or?
Well, I didn't play point for Boo, no. But I did play 2 through 5, basically.
Right.
So,
now, when you were in 8th grade, you played on the JV team at Bethel?
Yes, I did.
And who was the coach?
Aaron Webb. He's now at Mitchell, but yeah, he was my coach. Him and Coach Mike. I can't remember Coach Mike's last name, but he was the assistant coach, and I played for them for 1 season.
All right, now there again, where you played guard and forward, or? Yeah,
because that was around the time where I was kind of getting more of a feel for how I play basketball. So I was still in the post, but I was starting to develop a little ball handling skills, and I was able to shoot the ball a little bit more. So I was able to step outside of the post and kind of see what it's like. and then go back down.
Well, the difference of playing with your back to the basket or facing the basket.
Right.
A lot of people don't understand that. That's a whole
it's
different
two different
ball
games.
game.
Right, it's two different games.
Did you work on your own with your ball handling skills and stuff like that? Stuff that you picked up in practice, then you worked at it at home?
Yeah, because my parents were on me. Like, my mom was a basketball player, my dad played basketball, and my brother, my brother was at Bethel when I was in 8th grade, so he wasn't going to let me not be able to dribble. My dad wasn't going to let me not be able to dribble, and my mom sure as heck isn't going to let me. My mom might have been harder on me than everybody else, but it was all for the best. Well,
was there any player that you looked up to while you were younger?
Yes, there was a player. Her name was Amber, and she was a senior in my 8th grade. Well, actually, she was a senior my 7th grade year, and I met her when I was younger, and like she kind of like kept me under her wing.
Okay.
And then like when she graduated, I kind of felt like I wanted to be like her, so I was like, well, I'm going to be the next Amber. And, like,
well, you are.
So it worked out nice.
That was a no-brainer, wasn't it? Okay, and as a varsity, in 9th grade, you made the varsity. Mm-hmm. Your coach was
Mike Hagans.
Mike Hagans, and 4 years, and 4-year starter, and it had to be a great experience. But could you see not only you but your teammates get better each year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Especially in myself, because when I first got to varsity, I wasn't as fast as everybody else, but I knew that. So like when I started there, I was in the post, strictly in the post.
Right.
But like as the season prolonged, like going into my next season and the next season after that, I felt more confident in my own game. I felt like I can play with these people. Like I know these people and I know I can play with them. So I just spent more time in the gym and just got a little bit better.
Well, see, that's what was one of the questions I was going to ask you is when did you felt like, yeah, I can play with these people, even though people think they're better. I know I can, because I had Jerry Holmes in here, and Jerry, when he went to the pros, now he graduated from Bethel High School, but he had to play against good ball players, and he could shut them down. He says, you know, I can play with these guys.
Right.
So it's a lot of confidences that had to help your game.
Yeah, it definitely did. And like, even because I wasn't the only 9th grader in the district that was on a varsity team. Like you had Tiffany who was on varsity. You had one of my teammates, Talea, who was on varsity. So it was kind of like when I matched up with Tiffany, who I had played against before, I was like, well, if Tiffany can do it, I can too. Like, if Tiffany can go out here and play basketball like we have been our whole lives, then why can't I do the same thing? Like, why am I so nervous and she's not nervous? And so I was just.
Well, but you know, she probably was nervous too. You
right,
just didn't know.
Right, I just didn't know. So it was little things like that.
Right.
And I had been playing against a lot of the kids that were already on varsity teams, and they were older than me. So I'm like, well, I've been playing with her forever, and she's able to do it for the last 2 years. Of course, I can do it too. It took me about half of the season to not be as scared, but I mean, I got over it.
Well, good for you. Now, you were recruited. You went to George Mason, but talk a little bit about the recruiting process. The coaches coming down, they're calling you, sexing you, what?
Phone calls they were numerous. I was getting phone calls, letters. People were calling my head coaches. Like, it got to a point where it was kind of overwhelming. Like the recruiting process in itself is overwhelming. So then when you start narrowing it down, and now you're really trying to decide what schools you want to go to. Now you're stressed because you feel like you've developed all these relationships with these coaches, but you have to pick one.
Right.
And so like I was stuck in this situation where I was down to 2 schools. I picked Mason, but my other choice was Elon, and that's back when Coach Barefoot was down at Elon, and I love Coach Barefoot.
Right.
So when I had to call her and tell her I wasn't coming to her school, like I thought I just broke her heart, but I was the one that was the most upset. And so it was just, she was like, Amber, it's okay. I'm like, I just feel like, like I was a mess. But in the end, I made a great decision. I picked a great school.
Well, what sold you on that school? Because Karen Barefoot would be great to play for. I could see what she's doing over there at Old Dominion, I think, just awesome. But what sold you on, what was the thing that said, okay, George Mason's where I need to go?
Well, with Mason, there was a lot of things. I was close to home, but far enough away from home that I could kind of be my own person.
Right.
And then, I just loved being on the campus. It was something new. I feel like something new showed up every year. It was very diverse. It was people from everywhere at Mason. And I felt like I wanted to experience that because living down in Hampton, you deal with the same type of person. So going to a college where a lot of people from different countries and areas come to and can get along and all that stuff.
The experience, you can't put a price on the experience. But while you was at Mason, were you basically a guard or did you
Well, I was recruited there as a post player.
Okay.
And so my whole freshman year, I was strictly post.
Okay.
And then like my sophomore year, Coach Porter tried to kind of inch me out to the guard, but I didn't really play guard. And then my junior year, I was a guard. Like okay. I was a guard to the end of the year, but if I needed to go to the post, they knew they could count on me to go down there.
Right.
That's what my job became.
Okay, because I was wondering sometimes, because you had played post, if there was a time when somebody was guarding you that you knew you could beat them in the post, that you would go down and take them inside?
Because I think that with my versatility, even if they were bigger or smaller than me, like if they're smaller, I'm going to shoot over top of them. But like bigger players, well, I'm faster than they were. So like when I got to Mason, I wasn't afraid to be in the post. I'm like, okay, I'm going to college. I already dealt with this freshman scared, jitters, all that. I'm over that. Like, yes, I'm in college now, but I'm ready to play. Like I'm signed here. She brought me here to change the program around.
She's got confidence. She wouldn't have offered you the scholarship.
Exactly. If she didn't believe in me, then I wouldn't have came. So.
All right, 4 years there, you end up with a degree in psychology. And first year coaching, got the JVs over at Bethel, went home, which is unusual, but that's kind of nice to go home. But you also you work for TLC. Talk a little bit about what that is.
Well, TLC is a organization. It's really called Together Lives Change, and it's a company right over off of Executive. And basically, what we do is we deal with at-risk youth. So, like, basically, well, my job title is I'm a mentor. So I get a young child between maybe 10 to 16 or 17, and basically, it's my job to kind of give them some goals, teach them some things, because majority of the kids that we get are, they're not getting along with their parents at home, or they're not listening or something like that. So basically we get them and we kind of give them an outlet, take them away from home, but we're still teaching them. We're not just taking them out of the house to have fun. Right. We're taking them out of the house to help them work on things that they're having a difficulty working on.
Right. So you're trying to show them where they can get better at life and get along with people.
Exactly, because a lot of my kids they don't like to socialize. Everybody's texting, everybody's on Facebook, but they can't hold a normal conversation with you. And so I take the phones and all that out of our whole equation and make them we sit in the car. We'll sit in the car and talk for an hour, and if you don't talk to me, we'll just sit and stare at each other. So it's just like you can ask my kids. Like I ask for a lot from them because it's my job to make you a better person, and so like it's my hopes that you'll emulate me. Because I want you to be kind of like how I am. And all of my kids, I want them to be like me. I want you to be well-rounded and well-liked and able
outgoing
to able to do a lot of the things that
carry on a conversation other than texting.
Exactly. If you can only text, then I'm worried about you. Yeah. So I mean that's my job.
All right. So are you able to take some of those things that help you in coaching?
Yes, I am. I mean, even like with my psych degree, it's easier for me, I believe it's easier for me to understand people with my psych degree, because instead of automatically jumping on somebody that doesn't understand something, I could look at it and see why they don't understand. Right. Like once they explain to me.
You look at it from different.
I'm looking at it from my psychology. I'm not even looking at it as I'm your head coach. I'm looking at it like, okay, maybe you don't understand because maybe it's the way I put it, or maybe I said it incorrectly, or maybe, like it can easily be in how you communicated it.
Absolutely.
And so, I mean, I think it makes me a little bit more patient. It makes me a little bit more understanding, and it makes it easier for me to communicate. Like I know how to get the best out of somebody without fussing and cussing and yelling and screaming. So like I know I can have a conversation with you and you still understand me and you still give me what it is that I'm asking from you. Right. So I think that helps.
You went through a recruiting process basically, or you applied for the job over at Bethel. You applied for the JV job and got it.
Well, actually, I came back home and Coach Roy over at Bethel asked me to come help with the varsity. So my job was strictly I was just a volunteer. I was just helping them, kind of giving them a women coach because all they had been dealing with was men coaches. So, sometimes a man coach just doesn't understand what the women are going through. So he brought me in to kind of just give them another female to relate to. And so then the JV coaching job became available, and Coach Roy called me and asked me if I would like to take it. I was like, well, sure, why not? I would love to help you. Because that's the next generation that's coming to your team. Of course I want to help them. I'm going to see them anyways when they get to varsity, so I might as well work with them now. So.
Right. So how is it, you played for different coaches, so your philosophy has to take a little bit from every coach.
Yeah.
And I know that you kind of your own boss at the JVs. How's that working out?
I mean, it's going. Like I kind of try to take a little bit from everybody. Like Coach Six was in your face, but he wasn't trying to hurt your feelings. And then like Coach Porter was more of a nurturer, and my dad is more of a dad. So it's like,
to you,
like, yeah,
he
to
was
me,
different
right. So it's like, I mean, I try to kind of have a little bit of each. Like I'll yell if I have to, but if I don't have to, I'm not going. Like I'm not just a yell type of coach. Like I will talk to you and I will tell you the same thing I'm gonna tell you if I yell. Yeah. So some of them receive it better.
Saying it louder doesn't mean that you're gonna understand it better,
and sometimes saying it louder makes me not understand it because now I'm just looking at you screaming at me and I didn't hear what you said.
Right.
And yeah, because like that's the thing I learned at Mason. Like just because they're yelling doesn't mean they're mad. They could just be yelling because that's how they were feeling at the moment.
Right.
So listen to what's said.
We're going to kind of wrap this up, but I want to talk to you a little bit about what you bring to the JV program, and with you've answered some of this, but with your psychology degree and all, how you help these young ladies mature and to become young women.
Well, with the JV girls, I know they're young and I know they're going through a lot because I've been there, I've done that. But I kind of just try to get them to understand themselves. Like, you can only be the best person that you want to be. Like, I'm trying to make you the best you that you can be. So it's my job to just kind of get the best out of you. Like, yes, on the basketball court, but you can't play basketball unless your grades are right. You can't get your grade right unless you go to school. You can't, like, you got to be able to do your homework. You got to focus. Like, basketball can't be the only thing that you love. Like, because in order to play this sport, you have to do the right things in the classroom. And you got to do the right things at home. Like, it's not just in the court where I show up. Like, I'm trying to teach you things that'll, like, yes, I just taught you how to drop step, but in teaching you those steps, well, now you're more patient in something else that you could have done. Like, now you're looking like, oh, I could have broke that math problem down instead of trying to do it all at once. Or I could have read that book a little bit slower, read it chapter by chapter. Like, it's just little tiny stuff, because you can always relate it to real life, and then maybe they understand it easier or better.
Well, appreciate you coming in.
You're
I
welcome.
want to thank you for tuning in to LSC and Sports Time. I want to thank my special guest, Amber Easter. I'm your host, Bob Hintz. Until next time.